If escaping the British climate could dramatically improve your health, you'd be sorely tempted to leave for sunnier shores. 1 year ago, the O'Connor family was considering doing just that when they spent a week in Australia to see if life there had the potential to transform Mum Vicky's life. Today, we'll find out what happened next. Vicky O'Connor had been living a nightmare for almost 2 decades.
I've been completely bedbound for years.
And was hoping a move to Australia would mean her children getting their mum back.
This move is life-changing.
A trial week in Adelaide did work wonders.
I've been given a glimpse of what it could be like, and I love it.
So 1 year on, is it now Australia the family call home?
There was no regrets, no sort of that knot in your stomach thinking, what have I done?
With 85% of Australia's citizens living within around a half-hour drive from one of its 10,000 beaches, it's no wonder the country's been the top destination for Brits moving abroad for the last 25 years. Not everyone stays for good, however. Just over half of those who emigrate end up returning to the UK. Suffering from ME, or chronic fatigue syndrome, meant Vicky O'Connor had become a shadow of the parent and partner she longed to be. In 2014, the family spent a week in Australia to discover if the country could enable them to lead the normal family life they were so desperate for. Today, we'll catch up with the O'Connors and discover if they've gone ahead with a move to the other side of the world. The O'Connors' trial week in Adelaide began with a journey which saw them travel more than 10,000 miles. And after 26 hours in the air, son Jacob at least was feeling weary.
It's very tiring and my ears are not working properly.
The long flight had given Vicky plenty of thinking time.
Is it going to be warm? What's the weather doing? And how I'm going to be feeling when I get here, whether I'm going to be too exhausted to do anything or I'm going to be able to just sort of grab it with both hands and take part completely.
Husband Gavin was keen to discover if the country would live up to expectations.
What I hope to get out of this week is, say, just to see whether it is just a pipe dream or whether it's a reality.
But overall, everyone was delighted to have arrived.
We think Australia's awesome already, and we can't wait to find out more about it.
The week ahead would determine the family's entire future. In 2014, the O'Connor family, Dad Gavin, Mum Vicky, Grace then aged 12, Jacob who was 10 and Imogen then aged 6 were living in North Lancing in West Sussex. Vicky had suffered from ME since she was a teenager.
I first became ill in 1997. I went from being 17 years old, doing 4 A-levels, being very, very active, to basically being bedridden.
The debilitating disorder had robbed her of a normal life.
It can take away your ability to walk, it can take away your ability to form a sentence properly. It's a type of exhaustion where if your house was on fire, you wouldn't be able to get yourself out of bed and downstairs because you just physically cannot do it. A day like today is a good day. I'm up, I'm dressed. On a bad day, I don't leave the bedroom.
Following a short period of recovery, after the birth of Imogen 8 years previously, Vicky had suffered a severe relapse, which shattered family life.
She went from effectively running the family at home to being a spectator.
Of all the things I strive to be, a good parent, a good wife, I've really had to just let go of.
Vicky's illness meant Gavin had given up a successful career to take care of the family.
When I became bedbound again, he then became my full-time carer because my body was just physically incapable of doing even the most simplest of tasks.
Gavin was juggling his time between looking after the family and working as a part-time mechanic.
Gavin's day is crazy. He'll get up, he'll get the children ready for school, he'll go off to work, and then he'd be finished by 3, ready to do the school run. And then he'll come home and he'll cook dinner.
Times were challenging, but Gavin took it in his stride.
That's what you do, it's your family. At the end of the day, the marriage vows were sickness and in health. We've had a health part, we've never had a sickness part, we'd like a health part back now.
Holidays abroad had shown the family a warmer climate could have a dramatic effect on Vicky's health.
Every time we went somewhere really sunny, she's always felt better.
So Gavin and Vicky were pinning their hopes on a permanent move down under.
My consultants have always said if I can move somewhere that's got a subtropical climate, then the chances of my health problems being reduced to virtually nothing are huge.
And if it's the opportunity to give her a better quality and an extended life, then it's a no-brainer.
Our hopes for Australia are it will give me the chance to start living again rather than just existing. In the UK, I am just existing, I'm not living, and I need more than that.
But while there may have been much to gain down under, Gavin was worried about giving up what they had in the UK.
The most difficult thing to give up will be, I think, the security and where we are here, to actually close the front door of this house and say, do you know what, we won't be back.
The O'Connors were hoping their family life would be transformed with a move to Australia, but whether the country was a realistic option would only become apparent over the next few days.
Trial week, I'd say, is possibly a make or break, because if we can't make it work, then we're not going.
I think the rest of our life is riding on this trial week in Australia. I think it's that important. It really is.
The O'Connors spent their trial week in Adelaide, known affectionately as the City of Churches. With elegant tree-lined boulevards and an incredible sense of space, the city's popular with expats seeking a better quality of life down under. Home for the week was this 3-bedroom house in Oaklands Park, a southwestern suburb.
Ooh, nice. Oh, a breakfast bar, you love that?
Oh, wow.
Wow, loving that.
Yeah.
They'd only been in the country a few hours, but Vicky was already feeling the benefits.
We got out of the car and sort of the warm air hits you and even the wind's warm. Yeah, first impressions are, this could be home. So it'll be interesting to see whether I crash and burn with jet lag or, yeah, I can run a marathon at the end of it.
The family's future rested on the next few days. Back in the UK, the O'Connors were living in a 4-bedroom detached house at the foot of the South Downs in West Sussex.
We're very lucky where we are here. So we've spent a lot of money, a lot of time doing this house up so it works for us as a family, making things easier for Vicky.
Vicky and Gavin had around £275,000 to spend on a home in Australia and a good idea of what they were looking for.
Preferably 4 bedrooms.
I think it'd be easier for me as well if it was open plan.
To give the family an idea of what their money could buy around Adelaide, we showed them 3 different properties, 2 close to their budget and a third which could have been everything they were looking for in a home. House hunting began in Seacombe Heights, 10 miles from Adelaide city centre. A quiet, established suburb with numerous parks and a beach just a short stroll away, it could have been the ideal environment for Vicky's well-being. This 4-bedroom family home offered the open-plan living the O'Connors were looking for, but someone seemed confused by Aussie-style housing.
Does it only have a bottom half?
Does it only have a bottom half? You mean, is it a bungalow? Oh, wow. It's very different. Oh, so much space. Separate bath, separate shower. Perfect.
This house was proving a hit, and Vicky was impressed by the space in the master bedroom.
Look at the size of the wardrobes.
But she'd also spotted a problem.
There's no ensuite and the bathroom's miles away. It's just not very practical for me physically, is it?
The fact that there seems to be adequate wardrobe space for most of Australia, we could put an ensuite in.
I think that would work.
Problem solved.
Oh my word!
Outdoors was perfect for relaxing in the sun.
Right, the pool's amazing, but look at that view.
Yeah, it's absolutely perfect for you. You don't have to go anywhere. You can, it's all here.
I've got my own spa resort right here.
Yeah.
OK, let's buy it.
OK.
The house was very nearly perfect for Vicky's needs. But was it somewhere the O'Connors could afford on their £275,000 budget?
I think, personally, this is going to be beyond our budget.
I think you're probably right.
Go on then, Imogen.
Go on then, let me turn it over.
Show us what it's like.
It was £10,500 under budget.
Wow. It makes the dream a reality, doesn't it?
It does. It means that, do you know what, we can
We're buying this.
get what we've got at home, plus with the weather, and more importantly, your health.
Yeah. Gosh.
With the day off to a positive start, next stop was the suburb of Woodcroft. Around a 45-minute drive south of Adelaide, it was a little further from the beaches than the first property, but the area offered a good choice of schools for Grace, Jacob and Imogen. So, did this spacious, open-plan 5-bedroom house suit the family's needs?
OK. This I like.
Yeah.
It's very fresh, very minimalistic. It's perfect.
It was a promising start.
This is a perfect cooking area.
And Vicky noticed another benefit.
Everything's on one level.
The home's layout was ideal, and the spacious bedrooms didn't disappoint either.
It has one of those sliding doors.
Oh, it has built-in wardrobes. How exciting. Oh, my goodness, look at the size of the shower. This is really good.
This home was a hit, and the pool seemed to seal the deal.
A lot of advantages.
I love it.
Yeah.
When can we move?
Tomorrow.
This house could have been the perfect home, but only if the price fell within the family's £275,000 budget.
I'd say you're probably looking near the £300,000 mark.
I think it's going to be outside our budget.
I think this is going to be over our budget, although I'm obviously praying it's not.
That was £23,000 over budget.
It is just outside our budget, but it's not that far out.
But it's completely obtainable.
I think if Dad gets a good job, then we can make it happen.
Last stop of the day was what we thought could have been the family's dream home. It was in Aberfoyle Park. 12 miles south of the city centre, it had recently been voted one of the most family-friendly suburbs in Adelaide. This 5-bedroom property should have met the O'Connors' hopes for a perfect home. But did it?
Whoa.
Oh, my word.
So you've got
The kitchen's completely practical. It's lovely.
Absolutely.
Really good, isn't it?
I know what this reminds me of. It's a spa where you have your sitting area and you're looking out over the pool.
Upstairs, the bedroom's impressed.
Spacious.
Okay.
I love the big windows. Oh my gosh, it just goes on and on and on.
Can't really call that an ensuite. It's like an on jacuzzi.
On jacuzzi, that's a new one.
This is a good big space, isn't it? What is this supposed to be?
This house was huge, and Vicky was beginning to feel a bit overwhelmed.
I think it's too much.
But did outdoors improve matters?
I think the garden is my favourite bit of the house.
Yeah.
An abundance of space meant this house hadn't quite hit the mark. But was it within reach, anyway, of the family's £275,000 budget?
I think this is going to be over our budget.
It's probably going to be about £350, I thought.
That was £48,000 over budget, but the family weren't overly disappointed.
One of the ideas of moving to Oz was so that we spend more family time together, not so that everyone's off in their own separate rooms or on their own separate floor.
But just not for the O'Connor family.
It had been a mixed bag when it came to house hunting. Property 1 was a little bit of paradise and well within reach. House 2 was perfect for Vicky's needs and possibly worth stretching the budget for. But the scale of the third house was too much, as was the price. So when it came to homes down under, did the family vote Australia or the UK?
Based on the properties we've seen today, we are going to vote for Australia.
The houses in Australia, they haven't impressed me enough. So I prefer the ones back home.
I think the reason I chose Australia is you get a lot more house for your money.
And the houses we've seen today have exceeded our expectations, haven't they?
With almost everyone voting for Australia, Vicky's hopes for a new and healthier life down under were well under starters' orders. But being able to afford a move depended on Gavin having the right job prospects. Back in the UK, he'd been a full-time carer for Vicky for the past 6 years. But to supplement the family income, he'd started his own mobile car repair business, working from home on a part-time basis.
I'm a qualified mechanic. I trained from when I left school at 16, got my qualifications.
A move to Australia would have meant a return to full-time work, with Vicky going back to her role as a full-time mum.
Without the money, you can't live, you can't buy a house, you can't put food on the table.
For Vicky, a move couldn't come at just any cost.
We can't leave one country to try and help our situation and then, you know, me be really well out there, but you not be happy. And
that's true, yeah.
So it has to be the right job,
yeah,
as well.
As the potential sole earner in Australia, Gavin knew the pressure was on.
The bottom line is, if I can't get the right job, earning the right money, then we can't go because we can't afford to live.
Gavin's ability to find the right job with the right salary would be crucial if the O'Connors were to live the family life they were hoping for. We arranged for Gavin to visit a car repair garage on the outskirts of Adelaide, where he met owner Peter Axford. Straight away, Gavin was keen to know how the motor industry was faring in the city.
Car sales are booming, at record highs. A good mechanic is still in demand, yeah.
Okay. What's sort of the average working hours you expect from...
In here, we work 37.5 hours a week, 8:30 to 5, no weekends, and it's just a pretty relaxed style of work.
In some industries, that's classed as part-time, so yes, that's...
It was sounding good, so what were Gavin's chances of getting a job?
I don't think someone with your qualifications would have any real drama finding a job.
That sounds positive.
Across town to find out about Australian education, Vicky and the children paid a visit to Westbourne Park Primary School, where they met Deputy Principal Tara Hendry. Grace had started senior school in the UK, but in Australia, she'd be back at a primary. She was keen to find out how that would affect her.
This is our final year of school. It's actually year 6 in other states, but South Australia still has year 7, so that's where you would be, Grace.
Okay.
And Jacob had a question too.
What is the uniform like?
We really like kids to be active, so, you know, there's just a polo shirt and you can wear trackies or shorts, so it's very comfortable.
Back at the garage, Gavin had built up to the big question.
Somebody with my experience and qualifications, what would I expect to earn in a place like this?
Well, having seen your CV, I would reckon somewhere around the $1,000 mark.
$1,000 a week was around £29,000 a year, around a third more than Gavin earned back in the UK. But could he have increased his earnings even more if he were to start his own mobile repair business down under?
It would take time, as you know, to build a business, but ultimately, I think if you persevered, it could be quite a good income.
Financial security had been a key concern for Gavin, so had today helped put his mind at ease?
I feel quite confident that I can find work within Australia. More than confident I can do the work.
So when it came to the vote, was it home or away?
Based on what I've seen today about work, my vote will go to Australia. If I can get a job that I can work the right hours still support Vicky, still support what goes on at home, and it aids Vicky's recovery, then yeah, it is a no-brainer.
At the end of a busy day, the family caught up to compare notes.
How are you?
Good, thank you. How was it?
Excellent. We spoke about what money can be earned. So perhaps a little bit lower than what we had hoped, but I think the money's more in the mobile mechanicking side of things.
OK. I'm really pleased you enjoyed it, though, because you were a bit nervous about how it was all going to go down. Excellent. Well done. So proud of you. Mwah.
A move down under for the O'Connors was all about improving Vicky's health, so the whole family could lead a full and active lifestyle. With Vicky's condition possibly improved by Australia's warm climate, there was nothing better than a day out in the Australian sunshine to give everyone a taste of how their future life could look. First up was a leisurely cruise along Adelaide's iconic River Torrens. Time spent in the Aussie sunshine had worked wonders for Vicky. She was no longer sitting on the sidelines and couldn't quite believe it.
I feel amazing this week, and my pain levels are down, better than they've been in ever, really. My life's routine that has been the same for ages and ages and ages has now changed within the matter of a few days, and all I've done is sort of move country.
Grace and Jacob felt they had their mum back.
If Mum could participate like this every day, I think life would just be so much better and it'd be happier for us.
It would. It would definitely be so much better.
It's been fantastic. It's like having Vicky back again.
I've been given a glimpse of what it could be like, and I love it, and I want more of it, and I think Australia can do that.
It had been an inspiring day for the family, so was it a done deal when it came to choosing between lifestyle in the UK and Australia?
Based on what we've seen today with our lifestyle choices, family O'Connor are going to vote.
Australia! Are we all? Oh, wow, okay.
Excellent.
You can just enjoy everything that's in the parks because the weather's not rubbish.
There's so much you can do without costing you a fortune.
I chose Oz mainly because I'm well enough to enjoy what we've done today. So that's a real big thing for me.
The O'Connors were within touching distance of the happier, healthier life they'd been dreaming of for decades. But how would the cost of living in Australia compare to the UK? They started with a weekly grocery shop.
£24.73 more per week in Australia.
£100 a month wouldn't break the bank. Moving on to the bigger bills, the couple's mortgage payments would have been cheaper in Australia. Adding up their outgoings, they discovered
A whole £49.26. Right.
I thought it was going to be a lot more than that. I really did.
spending £600 more a year wasn't a deal breaker, but the couple would have had a lower income in Australia. Vicky wouldn't receive the disability allowance she did in the UK, so what was the overall financial picture?
So we're actually worse off living in Australia by £986.
The couple calculated they'd be over £12,000 worse off every year down under, but Vicky was determined not to be defeated.
See, I look at that and I just think, well, that's cool, because I'm going to be well when I'm in Australia, so then that'll be my job, won't it?
Gavin, however, couldn't laugh off such a large deficit.
Really, I need to look at earning an extra £12,000 a year to break even.
So, after examining their finances, how did the couple vote?
Based on our reality check today, we are going to vote for Australia.
UK. Purely based on the figures that we've seen today.
I think that the trouble is, I've looked at it in a different way. And because I've been so much better since I've been here, the thought of going back to the UK is non-existent in my head.
Vicky was still optimistic, but there was no denying the figures were a real setback. If Gavin wasn't fully on board, any move was in jeopardy. And there was one more hurdle to overcome, as Vicky faced coming to terms with leaving the family and friends who had supported her over the past few years. Grace chose not to watch the DVD, so the rest of the family sat down together to watch messages from home.
Hi guys.
Hi Vicky, hi Gav, hi kids. I hope you're having an amazing time, and Vicky, you're feeling well.
Hi everyone. Hope you're having a good time over there.
They're a very close family.
Oh, Mum's in tears already.
And the children are everything to Vicky and Gavin. Grace is very self-assured.
Jacob's full of energy. He buzzes constantly.
And little Imogen, she's a very determined, free spirit.
I'm not little.
You can't put a cost on your health. And all Vicky wants is to feel better.
True friends want the best for their friends, and that's it.
They've got this opportunity and you always back your children.
I feel sad because obviously I'll miss Vicky, I'll miss the children. And it's just having them around.
Well, Gavin, it's your choice. It's up to you now. We'll back you, whatever you decide.
And if you want to go with it, go, because we want you to go and be happy.
It's really, really difficult because I can either stay in England and not upset people, or I can move out here and be healthy.
The O'Connors had arrived in Australia hoping it would transform their family life. But while Vicky had felt the health benefits Down Under had to offer, the financial cost of a move threatened to be too big a burden for Gavin. As the family's final vote approached, where their future lay was still uncertain.
What I've gained in the last 5 days is completely priceless. And to give me back my role as mum and wife, this is what I need to be doing.
Gavin had been overcome by the positive impact the Aussie climate had had on his wife.
This week's been incredible. It's great to see Vicky up and about, playing with the children. What I've seen of Vicky I haven't seen for a long, long time.
Australia could have changed the shape of the family's future, but it would have come at a cost.
By moving to Australia, we lose the security of the house, lose the security of the business. And yeah, we worked hard for what we've got. We're effectively placing it all on this.
And Gavin wasn't the only one with concerns.
The only thing that will bother me going to Australia would be that I would miss my friends and family.
Vicky knew for the move to happen, every family member needed to be on board.
This decision will impact, our children's lives for the rest of their lives, but we've also got to make sure it's the right decision for them.
I think overall, I think I know what we're going to vote for, but I think there may be some surprises.
If there's a split in the vote at the end, then, it's a no-go.
It was time for the family to decide on which side of the world their future lay. Would Gavin put his financial fears aside? Were the O'Connors destined for a new life in Australia?
We've had a brilliant week in Australia. It's been really great. So now we vote for
Australia! Yes, full house! Well done, O'Connors. High five. Jacob, why did you choose Australia?
I chose Aussies because the beach really changed my mind. You can just literally relax.
Imi, why did you choose Oz? Same as Jacob, because the nice sandy beaches.
I chose Oz because I just prefer the houses and the fact that you're well on the left.
Oh yeah, me too.
I chose Australia because I feel that this is a better lifestyle for us, for our family, to find that Vicky is so much better here.
The family time we've had here in the last few days has been we've had much more time together than we have had in the UK for ages. So, yeah, it just feels like home.
It had been an unforgettable week for the O'Connors. Despite an element of financial risk, seeing the family life they could be leading down under had convinced everyone Australia should be their new home. So, a year after their week in Adelaide is the city where they now call home. It's 2015 and the O'Connors are living in Australia. Vicky was over the moon when her family voted for a new life on the other side of the world.
To get 5 votes for Australia, it was kind of really key for us because it means that the children were all on board with it. They'd enjoyed their trial week and they could see a future for us in Australia, and that was crucial in the decision making.
That's nice.
Is it good?
Their trial week had seen a marked improvement in Vicky's health.
She arrived in a wheelchair, and throughout the week you could see her getting more mobility. She cooked dinner, she was driving, she did everything, you know, as a family. We did it as a family of 5, not a family of 4 and an onlooker.
It was an eye-opener. It gave us a glimpse of sort of what I could be like. I do remember you saying to me, I've got my wife back.
It'd been 7 or 8 years since that's had happened, and it was just like, I just don't want this to end, this is great.
And the whole family benefited as a result.
During the trial week, it was really good to see my mum up and ready and waiting to go to anywhere we were going.
At the end of their trial week, the family stayed on in Australia to explore the country further, and they didn't have to wait long before the pieces for a move began to fall into place.
We went on a road trip to Sydney and received a phone call from the recruitment agency saying that he does have a job available for me. We've been trying to work out what visa, how we can get in, and effectively one phone call's just been handed to us on a plate.
It was a real shock when he got the phone call offering him the job and the permanent sponsorship to go with it, because initially we were looking at coming over on a temporary work visa, and to be offered this straight up was nothing short of miraculous, was it?
Absolutely.
Excited about their fresh start, the long journey back to the UK wasn't an easy one.
Grace and Vicky really just didn't want to get on the plane, but it was something they knew they had to do.
I cried for about an hour and a half on the flight home because I desperately didn't want to leave.
Once home, the family started preparing to make the move. But first they had to break the news to family, including Vicky's mum. They'd soon be jetting off forever.
It was really, really difficult because you're so excited about what's to come, but you have to take into consideration the feelings of others. We got some work to do on the AFL skills. She was pleased on the outside, and inside you could sort of see her heart breaking, so it was difficult.
And more pain was to come. 2 months after landing back in the UK, Vicky's health took a sudden downturn.
I suffered a severe relapse, which led to me being mostly bedbound and using the wheelchair on a more permanent basis. It was very, very difficult, not just because obviously you're chronically ill, but you're trying to make the most of the time that you have left in the UK. It made us more determined to make the move happen, because we just kind of got to the point where we were like, look, we can either live like this or we can move and have a far better life.
OK, if you want to grab your bites. All right, Emmy.
But the deterioration couldn't have come at a worse time. Vicky's medical for her visa was due. Arriving for it, she knew the whole move would rest on the outcome.
The doctor took my blood pressure first, and it was sky high, like completely off the scale. And he left me alone for a few minutes and said, just sit there, relax, take a few deep breaths. And then I sort of had a conversation with myself and said, look, I'm not coming this far. I'm not putting Gav through all of the assessments that he's managed to pass so successfully and failing on something as simple as a blood pressure. Look at them, they're having such a good time. And so I laid down on the bed and really just kind of concentrated on relaxing. And then the doctor came back 10 minutes later and took the blood pressure, and it was thankfully completely normal.
All the family needed now
Go on, Gav!
was to hear their visa had been granted. And when the news finally came, it was an emotional moment.
Well, I remember running up the stairs. I don't actually remember my feet touching the stairs to tell Vicky we're going.
It was just an unbelievable feeling. I think there was probably some tears as well. And then it was just, yeah, your face was aching because you were smiling so much.
The move was on, and the family wasted no time getting rid of most of their belongings.
From the minute that visa was granted, then that's it, the cars went up for sale. We started selling furniture off, booked the movers. Basically, it was just full speed ahead.
But one possession wasn't easy to shift. Despite their house being on the market for months, it had failed to find a buyer.
The house sale was probably the most frustrating thing of the whole entire process. I was quite relaxed about waiting for the visas. We knew it was going to take time, but the house sale was definitely the most frustrating bit of the whole entire process.
Finally, the house sold in January 2015. But when 4 months later the sale still hadn't completed, the family decided they just couldn't wait any longer.
The house is taking a long, long time to complete, and it really shouldn't have done. There were complications that were out of our control, but we decided to go anyway. I think I'd come to the end of what I could deal with in the UK, hadn't I?
You had.
And I needed to get out. Hiya. I'm going to have a number 3 on baguette, please. Leaving it for the last time, it was a real freeing experience. We'd had some wonderful, wonderful times there, but it was definitely end of an era and time to move on.
The family jetted off for their new life in May 2015, and landing in Adelaide made a real impression.
As soon as we were off that plane, I thought, yes. There was no regrets, no sort of that knot in your stomach thinking, what have I done?
Being wheeled down the ramp, I was just like, this is home, and there were more tears.
Arriving with no furniture meant kitting out their rental home was a priority, but luckily neighbours came to the rescue.
They said, oh, if you're moving in, you know, give us a shout if you need anything. And I sort of jokingly said, oh my gosh, we need everything. And by the end of that day, we had a double queen size bed, a sofa, a couple of TVs, dining room table and chairs, fridge, freezer, microwave. The generosity of people was remarkable.
1 month after they arrived, the family's UK house sale finally completed, and they wasted no time looking for a house to call their own.
We viewed numerous properties. In fact, I think we spent every weekend we were here searching for properties. There was no touristy things or anything like that. It was all about house hunting. This is the kitchen.
Lots of work surface, plenty of room for wine and wine glasses.
While they'd finally found a dream home on first viewing, it was clear it would need a lot of work.
This is our dining area.
It was awful. In the inside, it smelt like nothing I've ever smelt before. It was just disgusting. But this house just ticked every single box that we needed. Yeah, made it all a bit more open plan.
Her good health meant Vicky was able to supervise the renovations.
It was nice to be able to take part in the renovating. I was able to help with the painting and, yeah, just basically whatever I could. I think I did more of the organising of getting the tradies in and the skip arriving at the right time, and to sort of project manage it from that point of view.
This is my room. I have my bed, my dresser and my desk. It's a lot bigger than my room in the UK, and yeah, it's cool.
This is just kind of like the cherry on top of everything, isn't it? Because it's just beautiful up here.
But there's still one element of work to be completed.
The children are definitely looking forward to having a swimming pool, and the thought of coming home from school and jumping straight into the pool, finishing off with a barbecue, and that being normal, standard, everyday life is quite astonishing.
Quickly getting into a routine, the children embarked on their Australian education.
When I started my new school, I was really nervous on the first day, but I made brilliant friends.
And haven't had any problems adjusting to their new lives.
I'm glad that we moved to Australia because it's more sunnier and I get to see the kangaroos and the koalas.
Gavin's job as a garage supervisor is going well.
I thoroughly enjoy my work here. The Australians are very friendly, and yeah, it's something I really, really enjoy. Look forward to each morning coming to work.
And after a tough start, Vicky's health is definitely on the up.
I worked really hard in the first 6 weeks we were here and went from being sort of permanently in a wheelchair to being able to manage to do the school run, and most of the time cook a meal for when Gav comes home from work as well. So things definitely improved greatly.
It's really nice to see my mum finally up and driving and all that type of stuff.
Finding a local church has helped the O'Connors settle into their new community and make friends.
Hi, how are you? Yeah. Oh, that's great.
We went to the church that we're now part of, and there were a few things that happened the first day we were there, and I knew it was confirmation that this was the church we needed to be in. It was almost like walking back into family.
Oh, they've settled in really well, and from what we can see anyway, they really seem to enjoy being part of us.
They've been down under for just 6 months, but already the O'Connors' lives have been transformed.
The difference the move to Australia has made to the family is quite remarkable. We spend far more time outside, even if it's just in the garden, because we spend less time inside than we ever have done before.
After 20 years, the move's seen Vicky finally able to play an active role in family life.
It does mean now that Vicky does have a life. It's almost like having a cheeky relationship with somebody else other than your wife, because it's like it's that different. It's like it's somebody else, but it's not. It's your wife.
Who's first? Okay, hold still. Now I feel part of the family rather than just standing on the outskirts viewing everything from that position.
Her improving health has already seen the family expand their horizons.
October, we were fortunate enough to take a road trip to Gold Coast. We decided we were going to drive the whole way there in one hit, which was a 24-hour drive. And that kind of reflects how my health is at the moment, so I'd never have been able to do something like that a year ago. It just would have been unfathomable, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. The fact is, Vicky drove nearly as much as I drove, and that's something that hasn't happened for years and years.
For the O'Connors, there's no looking back.
Undoubtedly, without any question whatsoever, moving to Australia was completely the right thing for us to do. This is what happens to bad snowmen.
I've got my wife back, and she is a fantastic woman, great mother, and a fantastic support. I mean, without Vicky, with her support and that, I mean, I don't know where I'll be.
You're not meant to make me cry.
They've not been there long, but it looks like the O'Connors' new life in Australia is off to a fantastic start. We wish them all a happy and healthy future as they continue to embark on their new lives down under.